Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm your host, Ryan Sketch, and this is Sketchbook Audio. We are here at Otay Lake out in San Diego, pretty close to Tijuana. And I'm about to show you guys my 2019 RAV4 and let you know what it's all about. Hey guys, what up? It's your host, Ryan Sketch, here with Sketchbook Audio, and as I said before in the previous episode, we are doing video now. This will be uploaded to. I'm not gonna do outtakes. You're just gonna have to sit there and watch it. But anyways, stay tuned because I'm gonna give you an in-depth tour around the 2019 RAV4 in blue flame that I picked up on my way out here to San Diego. Stay tuned. Okay, so we're in the interior of the 2019 RAV4, and I'm not going to get into all of the specifics, all the different gadgets and gizmos, because that's not what Sketchbook Audio is all about. What Sketchbook Audio is all about is the design of everything, the way everything's laid out, the way everything feels and looks, and what makes this vehicle different than everybody else's. The first thing you'll notice that definitely makes this vehicle different than the rest of the crossovers out there is this orange contrast in the vehicle, which is a generally all black interior. Now they do have an option for there's like a light gray paddings on the armrest and on the dash and then the middle of the seats with this dark charcoal color. Unfortunately, they did not have that option available for me when I purchased this, so I am stuck with an all black interior. However, I say that very loosely because I actually really like it, and if you've been watching this show at all, you'll know that I generally abhor all black interiors. Why? Because it makes you feel like you're in a coffin. Now, as I said, there's this nice touch of orange everywhere, and it carries out throughout quite a bit of the cabin. You've got these orange bezels here, the orange pad here, which, by the way, if you get the upgraded technology package, this is a wireless charger. That technology package also comes with a heated seat button here and here, also a cooled seat or ventilated seat, however you want to say it, and that's there. I don't have that because I'm poor. So then you look in the back, the orange accents kind of carry over because you got the seats there and you got there, and it's nice. It's not just orange stitching. Now, the one thing I love most about this vehicle is Toyota does a really good job with their textures on their seats. Now, I have no idea what this triangle really stands for or what it represents. It kind of reminds me of recycled, which, by the way, I do believe some of this material is from recycled goods. I can't say that for a fact, but I'm pretty sure that's what they were going with because this is not real leather. This is synthetic. It's called Softex. So what they were going for was something that's soft, kind of feels like leather. I mean, it's pretty damn close, but it's super easy to clean and practically waterproof. Now, I've actually been in that lake and then got into this car, and it still stayed pretty dry. So I'm very happy with it. It doesn't absorb water like some natural leathers do, or cloth for that matter. Back to this texture, a lot of vehicles just give you black leather with nothing on there. So I really appreciate the cars that do either the diamond stitching, or in this case, this is like it's not stitching, it's just an imprint. So that's really nice. And I like the fact that it carries over into these pockets of orange. By the way, are a nice rubber texture, so things don't go sliding about. I mean, I'm giving it some push, and then there's definitely friction. The next thing I love about this vehicle is it's one of the few crossovers I've been in that actually gives you high wall floor mats. Now, these will be great for places like the beach, which is where we're at right now. This is Otay Lake, so all that water that I might bring in once I get out of the car. And if I was in a climate that actually had snow, this would be great to protect the carpet floor underneath. Okay, so enough about the texture and the seating. Let's look at some of the electronics in this vehicle, because I will admit I don't like the RAV4 historically. This one, however, ups the ante with a fancy new full colored in-gauge cluster screen here. Now, what you'll see is a full color cluster, and what they did here is you have your tach, it's analog, you have your engine temp, analog, your gas, which is analog, and then a bunch of other items here that are digital. They try to fill it in. I will say Toyota didn't do the best job of unifying that giant obvious square, but it's not bad. At least they did something with these bezels on the outside, but it's not bad. It's not a bad attempt at all, and given what the Toyota RAV4 has been in the past, this is a huge step up. The one thing I do like about this vehicle, it has a lot of menus. It's not as customizable as, say, the FCA products, like any of the SRTs or the Jeep, but there are a lot of very important details that pop up on here, and it's really easy to control with this steering wheel here. Of course, you have your, this is actually connected to Alexa, as well as Siri or Android Auto, radio changing, your adaptive cruise control, everything here. And your mode if you're trying to go between different audio sources. Toyota did a really good job of making this vehicle very ergonomically friendly. The shifter feels good. This has got a good reach to it, and my arm doesn't feel like it's going to fall asleep. It's actually a really good height as well. But this dial here, let's take a look at this. This is one of the coolest features of the RAV4. Now, you can't really see it right now because of some glare, but there is a little bit of blue backlighting on this. When you push these three buttons, nothing happens. Nothing happens here anyways, but when you look up in here, the gauge, the upper bezel here turns green for eco, it goes black for normal, and then sport mode gives you a little bit of flair by making everything red. I'm not gonna lie, this car actually is pretty sporty for its size, given the fact that it's got the Toyota Camry's 2.5 liter i4 engine. It hauls, so I'm very happy with its performance, and it's definitely a capable vehicle. But back to this fancy little dial. Now, when I push for normal, it's still normal, and you'll know it's in normal because of that blue backlighting, which is kind of hard to see. But when I go to sand, it turns tan. And if I go to rock, it's also kind of hard to see, but I think it turns sort of a reddish color. But when I push for normal, it goes back to blue. So let's take a look at the outside of the car, shall we? Okay, so what Toyota has done for this generation of the RAV4 is they completely redesigned it from the bottom up. They gave it a more robust all-wheel drive system, at least for this adventure model. But the best thing about this vehicle is its really athletic and sporty stance. It actually sits on the exact same platform as the Toyota Corolla and the CHR, which is kind of interesting because, of course, those are both cars. How is this vehicle going to do off-road when it's sitting on a car platform? Well, I will tell you by experience that it does pretty well. We're not going to go off-roading here because this is not the place for it, but what I will show you is around the vehicle and let you know that it does pretty good water fording. Alright, so we're going to take a walk around the outside of this car. Ignore the license plate. But one thing I did like about this on the exterior as compared to some of the previous generations is they did give you dual exhaust, which is kind of nice given the fact that it's a pretty potent engine. You can't really hear the exhaust, so no big deal there, but this is the adventure model in blue flame, or flame blue, what it is. You can see the Ride Fox logo there because I do in fact work for Fox Shocks. This specific model is the adventure model, as I said before, and it's riding on 19-inch wheels. If you look at the wheels carefully and then go look at a Wrangler, one of the previous generation Tailgate, and look at the Wrangler wheels, they're actually about the same, which is pretty cool considering A, I love Wranglers, and B, I like those wheels. So this worked out nicely. You can see there's a lot of plastic fabric, which is nice, especially if you're going to do some off-roading and you want to damage that sheet metal. You can see the integrated turn signals in the rear. This vehicle, I attached the crossbars to, but you see this roof rack system is different than the ones on the other models that have that's because, well, for one, you don't have panoramic sunroof, you get a standard sunroof. For two, I wish they would have gone with Subaru's ICA's trick crossbar thing. I really like that when they integrated the crossbars into the side rails and then you just flip them out, but they didn't do that. Come to the front of the vehicle, It's got some more plastic trim along with this silver faux skid plate. Listen, it doesn't do much for you. However, it does look pretty good. I added the yellow fog lights. This one does come with, actually I believe all of them come with LED headlight bulbs. However, this is not the fancier headlight system that has the projector headlights. A nice daytime running light here, but I might change that in the future. Who knows? But you got 3 bulbs here. Headlights work very well in all sorts of weather. So this is definitely a good vehicle, and it earned its safety awards from NHTSA and IIHS. So highly recommend this car from a safety perspective. Now, some of the safety tech is integrated into the grille and then into this portion. However, if you have the higher level tech package, you will get the front parking sensors, which are mounted somewhere around here and then the center there. Actually, they might even be up here. I can't remember. This does have forward collision warning and the brake assist. So if you come behind somebody very fast, it will slam on the brakes for you and notify you visually and audibly that, hey, you need to slow down. It's a nice feature. I love the fact that Toyota has put that standard on pretty much all of their vehicles across the board. That's definitely happening with a lot of other auto manufacturers as well, because let's face it, we as human beings suck as drivers, especially if you're from Michigan. Back here, we have some more LED lights. These are standard halogen bulbs, but I did replace that back bulb with an LED myself. One thing I will say about this compared to the previous generation is I actually like the previous generation's taillights better from the back view. Like you're looking at it straight like this, I like them better than the last one. I think it's really unique for look. They're very similar, but very different. And this, I like how they kind of pulled this from Lexus. Lexus has this coming down more at an angle on all the ISs. It's a very nice silhouette. And of course, the obligatory crossover floating roof that will eventually be wrapped in black. But on other Toyota RAV4 models, you can get it in either black for the hybrid, or on the Adventure, you can also get it in this ice gray, which is kind of like an off-white. Very nice accent. It looks great on their matte grayish green color. I don't remember what it's called, but it doesn't really matter. It's a beautiful color. Now, oh, by the way, this is not a TRD model. I will talk about that briefly over here. Let's look and see what we have in the trunk, or the boot, as some people will call it. So we look in the back. Oh, still talking with a British accent. So if you come back here, we've got a JBL sound system. I believe this is an 8-inch sub. There is an amplifier under the passenger seats somewhere abouts. But back here, this is one of the reasons why I purchased this vehicle in the first place. You'll see immediately that this storage space is huge. Way bigger than my Range Rover was. But most importantly, it's very well protected. So here you got a reversible floor mat. You've got like these ridges here that do a pretty good job of holding cargo safe and in place. Then you have these little divots that basically what they do is they dig into this carpeted area. Now this is reversible, so you can have a hard plastic in case you want to protect the carpet from, say, salt or mud, and then you can flip it back over however you want. Now a nice thing in here that most cars don't do is they offered you a storage place for your tonneau cover, which is pretty awesome because this thing has gotten in the way more than once. It's a little bit of a pain to get in here. You do have to pop off these relatively cheap plastic panels and then slide it in here, but it does give you this really nice ledge back here, this little niche back here where you can hide some stuff. Not exactly sure what you'd be hiding back here in a RAV4, but you know, everybody's got their thing. And this load floor, which I'm struggling to show here, if you have that bar out of here, the tonneau cover, you can see the ledge down here. You can drop the load floor a couple inches, and that makes for a very convenient cargo area. The seats do fold down flat, and mine came with this extra rubber backing for not only the middle of this cargo area, but also the back of the seat so I can protect the carpet there. I actually added the LED there, but normally it's a halogen light. You can turn it on and off. Plus, the Adventure model is the only model, I believe, that comes with this extra little, I think it's, yeah, 120 volt, 100 watt AC outlet, so you can plug in, I'd imagine a small vacuum cleaner, but you have a cigarette lighter in here as well. All in all, this makes for a very convenient vehicle, very functional, very capable sport utility vehicle. Another feature that I liked, and it's not very obvious, but these seats do recline a bit. So when you pull this up, that's in its first position, and then you bring it back and that's in its second position. It's not a tremendous amount of recline, and it's probably not the most elegant reclining mechanism, but it works, and your friends who are stuck in the back seat will appreciate that little bit of added effort. Now, this one does have a automatic tailgate. You just push this button. Now let's check out the back seat. The back seat, now this is interesting. I mentioned before that this is based off of the Corolla and the CHR, and neither of those vehicles have the biggest rear back seat, but it's not cramped. I feel like it gets even bigger and better here in the RAV4. So the RAV4 being wider, of course, taller, and there's plenty of legroom. In this case, I have some stuff back here. My fire extinguisher, a Toyota med kit, as well as the Toyota road and safety hazard kit in the back here. Of course, you can see also the rubber floor mat on the back as well, and it does go over the center hump, which is nice. Down here, two 2.1 amp USB ports, and there are, well, there's one in the glove box, and there's one, or I'm sorry, in the center armrest, and then there is one all the way up front there. You got one mat. Now this is, I find this kind of interesting. There's only one mat pocket in the back seats. Generally on leather cars they give you two, but in this case you get one, and maybe that's because these aren't true leather. I don't know. Some other added touches that I like is that triangle motif carries on into the speakers, again, as well as in the back seat. And altogether, this is a very nice vehicle. You also have a pull down center console here. Yep. One thing that kind of, you know, I really wondered why. I know why from an engineering standpoint, but I still wonder why the Adventure model of all the models didn't get a panoramic sunroof. It just seems like this would have been the vehicle to get a panoramic sunroof, and they would have figured out a better way to make the roof rails. Whatever, I'm not the engineer on this vehicle, so I have no input on that. But if anybody from Toyota is watching, I think you need to put a panoramic sunroof in the vehicle that's meant to go somewhat off-road. Okay, so that's it for the 2019 Toyota RAV4 Adventure. I hope you enjoyed it. I love the vehicle. I think it's a great ride. It's no Wrangler, but I think with a little bit of love and some money, I can probably make this thing a very capable vehicle. There are some companies already that are making aftermarket parts for this vehicle, including LP Adventures. Method Wheels has some really nice off-roading and beadlock wheels for this car. There's a few other companies out there that are doing stuff. Oh, and the TRD model. The TRD model is scheduled to come out sometime at the end of this year, possibly early next year. And what that means for anybody who's looking to buy one is you get a very similar layout to the Adventure. However, the interior, instead of all the orange, you get a lot of red. The tires are Wild Track all-terrain tires. They're a pretty beefy package, and I would definitely recommend them. The wheels are all black. I believe they're the same wheels as these. I couldn't quite tell in the picture, but you can find it online. Go to autoblog.com or a couple other Toyota-based websites, and you'll see the Toyota TRD Sport 4x4 2019 RAV4. They also included a slightly changed and enhanced spring rate, as well as an enhancement to the shocks and the tubes on this vehicle. I think it's going to be a good seller, as most of TRD Pro and TRD 4x4 and the TRD Sport models do sell really well. How expensive it is, I don't know. Hopefully it's about the same price with a little bit of a bump, because you're not getting any extra power. You're not getting too much of an extra ride height, maybe like an inch or so at best, and that's mostly because of the tires being bigger, as well as the spring being a little bit different. but check for that vehicle. It's coming out very soon. I'm looking forward to it, but in the meantime, I'm gonna have to find something to do to make this thing my version of the TRD. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. This has been Sketchbook Audio and your host, Ryan Sketch. I hope you like it. Just enjoy the lake and the pretty view behind me.